Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, and welcome to this educational presentation where I'm excited to talk to you about a brand new package we're going to be actually teaching you. This is a new course, and this actually is your last chance to learn how to trade my trading essentials. This is a brand new course, and like I said, I'm really excited about it because we're really going to be focusing on something that is near and dear to my heart, that is called trend trading. So welcome once again. My name is Stephen Primo. I am the president and founder of Specialist Trading. I see we have a lot of new names here today. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with my presentations, I have personally been trading the markets for nearly 5 decades. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the trading floor for a total of 16 years, and 9 of those years I was a specialist. So that's where we get the name, as you see in front of you, Specialist Trading. A specialist isn't more special than anyone else, isn't a better trader, or doesn't have more money. In the old days, a specialist was someone who made markets in roughly about 50 or 60 stocks. So if you wanted to buy or sell a stock, you had to go up to the trader, the floor broker had to take your order over the phone and go up to the trader who specialized in making a market in stocks like IBM and Waste Management. Those were two particular stocks I made markets in. I made markets during the crash of '87 and the bull market that followed. And in the mid 90s, I left the floor to manage money and also to trade my own account. There's one thing I've learned in nearly 5 decades of trading. It's that the only traders that are still around, the only ones that are still consistent, are the ones that make their own trading decisions. This is something I have found and I have learned through my own experience and what I believe has sustained me now going on 5 decades. So about 15 years ago, I teamed up with ProTrader Strategies and we formalized Specialist Trading with one goal, and that was simply to educate traders. You see, if a trader has the proper education and things that are highly consistent and things that have shown to work in the past, well, then a trader feels confident in making their own trading decisions. It's only when you rely on someone or something else to make your trading decisions that you really fail, because 80 to 85% of all traders fail. And most traders, like myself included when I first started, were making their trading decisions based on what someone else was telling me what to do. But once I got enough confidence, once I learned what my mentors were teaching me, then I had the wherewithal to actually trust my instincts and to make my own decisions. And that is, as I said, what has sustained me. So that's the goal of specialist trading. Not to force feed you signals on a nightly basis, not to tell you what we think the market's going to do or not going to do, not what the perfect time frame is, or what the perfect stock is to buy or the perfect crypto to sell. Our feeling is to provide you with sound fundamental tools that have stood the test of time so that you can make your own trading decisions. In my opinion, this is the only way one can become a consistent trader. And you'll see that in today's educational presentation. Now, before we begin, we are required to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results by applying and using these trading essentials, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are, as I just stated, first and foremost, an educational company only, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, as I stated earlier, I see a lot of new names here in today's class. So if you'd like to get more education on a daily basis, a couple of ways to follow us. Firstly, you can follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter. There's our handle right there. I would suggest copying that down at SPC LSTTRDG. I post anywhere from 5 to 7 different snapshots a day of signals our methods have generated, or little techniques that we have shared with our students. Lots of great free education on X. Also, we are streaming this live now on YouTube. So another way to get more education is to subscribe to us on YouTube. If you're following us right now, just simply hit the subscribe button and we'll have a lot more content for you in the future. Okay, with that stated, let's begin today's educational presentation. And today I'm really going to talk to you about, usually, as I stated, we have a lot of new names here I see in the class, but usually what I'll do is I'll teach a technique or a method on my free Wednesday webinars. But because we have this class coming up in the following week or so, I can't give a lot of information away here because this is what we're going to be talking about in class. So today I'm really going to be talking about what we will be presenting and what the course is based off of. Okay, so here's the theme of this particular course. And it's one of my favorites, one in which my mentors taught me when I was first struggling and starting out. And that's this. The secret to trading success is to simply want what the market wants. That's it. The secret to trading success is not who has the biggest trading account or who's been trading long enough or who knows the perfect time frame or who has the perfect system. That's really not the secret to trading success. The secret is to simply want what the market wants. And therefore, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what market or what time frame you're trading, because whatever market you decide to trade, be it crypto, be it currency pairs, the stock market, intraday trading, futures, makes no difference. If you're in sync or wanting what the market wants, you'll be successful. You'll be consistent. You see, you only lose money when you're doing what the market doesn't want to do. In other words, when you're selling or going short and the market wants to go higher, or when you're buying and the market wants to go lower. You're not wanting what the market wants. You're saying that the market will go no higher and it continues to go higher. Or you're saying that the market will go no lower and it continues to go lower. You see, we have to get out of our own way, learn how to listen to the market, and then jump on board. Trading is not any more complicated than that. You only lose money when you're out of sync with the market you're trading. This is what caused us, me and the people at ProTrader Strategies, to develop the Trading Essentials package. This is a great new course we're going to be starting, I said, in the next week or so, where we're going to be talking about how it takes to be in sync with whatever market you're trading. Now, this course will cover the essentials and the foundation for consistent trading, which, in my opinion, is based on trend trading. Trend trading is another way of saying wanting what the market wants. Now, this is for traders who have learned the basics for what we teach. In other words, students that have already signed up and taken courses of ours, such as the Dynamic Duo. Great course, a great way to start, or another course as well, say strategy number 1 or strategy number 5. But they have now decided to take their trading to the next level. So this is who this course is for. Let's say you've already become a student of mine, you've been around for a while, you have a method that you feel is great, it's working for you, but you want to take your trading to the next level. You'd like to graduate on to a different level of consistency. Okay, so let's put it out there in front of you. There are 2 main essentials of trend trading. I know a lot of people say, well, the trend trading is you just find the trend and just buy, or find the trend and just sell, right? Not really. The 2 essentials are this: entering in advance of a strong trend. You see, it's not just enough to find a strong trend, because usually, we've all been guilty of this, you'll find a strong trend and the minute you get in, it stops, right? It dissipates or goes the opposite way. So the secret to trading a strong trend is entering in advance. I mean, what good does it do if you get in the middle or towards the end of that strong trend? But usually that's the way traders trade. We find out a little bit too late, and then by that time it's topping out or bottoming out. And then secondly, the second main essential is exiting in advance of a trend change. How many of us have stayed in a trade far too long? We've got a great profit, but it's only on paper, right? And then the trend changes, and either we get out and maybe that great profit turns into a little measly gain, or maybe it actually turns into a loss. And so this is what happens so many times. And oftentimes we also get out too early. Excuse me. Maybe we exit too quickly, and that's well in advance of when the trend is changing. And so we leave so much profits on the table. We want to exit in advance of that trend change. Now, as traders, we can achieve this consistency by applying 2 of our best of the best trend trading tools. Now, if you're a student of mine, which I'm sure we are, I see a lot of names here that are students of mine in this class today, a lot of you know that I would say 90%, maybe even 95% of everything we teach, everything we want to instill in all our traders is based on following the trend. And some tools work in certain categories and some others are in other categories. But I feel the 2 techniques and 2 methods that we're going to be sharing with you in this course are our absolute best of the best trend trading tools. Now, I can't divulge what they are now here because it wouldn't be fair for the people who've already signed up for the course that's going to be starting next week. But let me just share with you how we're going to teach these, all right? The course is actually going to be taught in 2 different sections. Section 1 will talk about entering, obviously, in advance of a strong trend. Let me share with you how this technique works. Here's an older chart in Apple. And as you can see, the market was going lower. Looks like we're in a downtrend, right? And then all of a sudden we have one up day. Well, someone would say, well, yeah, it's not enough to tell me that the trend has changed. But this method would have told you, yes, it's time to enter, because not only is the trend going to change, it's going to be a fairly significant one. And as you can see, in the next week, it went up 22 points. Another example here in SCLX. Not much we can tell from this chart, right? Kind of drifting a little higher to sideways. But once again, with the method I'm going to be sharing with you, it told you very succinctly to enter right here based on this bar. And it took a little while, but then eventually went up 15 points. And a lot of people say 15 points, well, that's not that much, but that's a 200% price gain in a little over a month. I mean, think of it. Say you were long NVIDIA or Apple, and it gained 200% in a little over a month. I think you'd be pretty happy with that, right? Let's look at another example here. This one's in GLOB. Obviously, we're going lower just based on this short example here. But where someone would have said, well, it's probably going to stop and go back up. This method said, nope, this is actually the beginning of a strong downward trend and 15 more points to the downside. Now, here's a weekly chart of NVIDIA, all right, starting all the way back, going back to last summer or spring. As we can see in hindsight, this is the way most traders usually trade. They'll see a strong trend like this, even on a weekly basis, and say, wow, time to get in, right? I better start buying here. All right, well, that's sure a great decision, but wouldn't you want to get in somewhere here? Well, with the method I'm going to be teaching you in the course, it would have generated a buy signal based on this bar right here, and you could have potentially captured 50 points coming into the end of summer. Now, we can apply this to intraday trading. Here's a 3-minute chart of the spiders. All right, let's say you're interested in buying the spiders on an intraday basis, but nothing much is giving you a clue to go long. You want to buy it somewhere around here, but it's just kind of going sideways. And then the next day, it gaps up. Now, you say to yourself, oh, I can't buy it now, right? It gapped up, and now this is where I was thinking I would most likely sell if I had purchased it. Well, based on this method I'll be teaching you, that bar actually generated a buy signal telling you to enter there, because this is the beginning, not the end of a trend. This is the beginning of a strong trend. And look what happened. The stock on an intraday basis, on a 3-minute time frame, went up 10 points. Now, if that doesn't seem like a lot, the S&P, the SPY, the spiders, represents the indice that mimics the S&P 500. Well, that 10 points was comparable to an 800-point Dow Jones point day in just one day, okay? So that's how powerful this could be. Let's look at this example in THAR. Obviously a directionless market, as it says right here, right? Kind of going sideways. We're all taught to avoid these markets because this is where you get whipsawed. This is where you lose money if you buy and it doesn't do anything. You're tying your money up for a long time. Well, it may appear to be directionless, but this is the beauty of this method I'll be teaching you, because even though it appears directionless, this method is signaling an entry point right here in the middle of that directionless market. Now, even though nothing happened for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, look what happened after that. It jumped up 5 points, or a 300% price gain in less than 2 weeks, okay? So it doesn't matter if we're looking at weekly charts, it doesn't matter if we're looking at 3-minute time bars or inexpensive $2 stocks. Let's look at NEGG, kind of the same thing, kind of going sideways, no real direction here, kind of a directionless market, but this method told you that now is the time to get in advance to a very strong trend. Remember, the goal of section 1 is to get you in advance, not to have you wait till the trend is halfway over or even completely over. So this was signaling an entry point because most likely a strong trend was like to begin, and 105 points at the end of the month. All right, so that's what we're going to be covering in section 1. Now, in section 2, we'll talk about the second aspect of essentials trading, and that's exiting in advance of a trend change. Remember, even though we can get into a strong trend and have a nice profit on paper, what does it matter if we stay in too long and the trend changes on us? Or what does it matter if we got out too early before the market was telling us it wanted to change trends? And we could have captured a lot more profits. So we want to be able to exit in advance of a trend change just before it's about ready to signal that the profits, the high, or I should say the low-hanging fruit days are over. Here's an example in PLTR. Let's say you were lucky enough to be long, okay? And you say to yourself, wow, I've got a nice profit, but I don't know where to get out. This guy on TV is telling me, oh no, this is going to soar. It's going to go into the 200s and to stay long and to even buy more, right? This is what we hear all the time. And once again, this is why most traders fail, is because you're making your decisions based off what some guy's saying on TV or what some indicator is spitting out. How about what something is based off the chart in front of you, off of market behavior, as opposed to some other type of behavior? Because had you stayed in too long and not taken our course on trading essentials, you would have missed that just based off this bar alone. You would have known to exit right there and take your profits, and you could have saved yourself 40 points. Or if you had gotten in somewhere around here, well, you have now saved yourself a loss. Or let's say you're a more advanced trader and like to go short, and you say, gosh, I've got a nice profit on paper though. Maybe I bought the puts, maybe some type of spread strategy with a downward bias. And so I'm doing really well. But once again, that guy in that chat room says, look, we got a base right here, maybe even a double bottom. You better cover shorts and get ready because this is going to make new highs. So let's say you cover the short and then look what happens. It even goes lower, right? And you kick yourself and say, why did I get out too early? Well, the reason why you got out too early is because the chart in front of you was not telling you that the trend had changed yet. The trend was still in play to the downside. It wasn't until right here, according to what we'll teach you in the course, that you should have exited. Right there, based off that bar. And once again, you could have gained an extra 60 points by staying in the trade and exiting there instead of here. Or we look here in hindsight, FN, all right? You've got a nice profit. Where do we get out? Once again, right here at the very top bar, this method I'll teach you told you to exit at this point. And as we see, you could have saved yourself 50 points just by the next week. Now we can even apply this to intraday trading. Remember, everything we teach is easily transferable onto any market and any time frame, including a 15-minute chart of Netflix. If you were long this or you were thinking about getting long, well, let's say you were thinking about, let's say some guy in a trading room said, it's time to buy. This is in a real strong uptrend. It's time to get in. Well, this method I'll be teaching you would have said, nope, don't even think about it because the trend is now changing and you could have saved yourself a 15-point loss if you decided to get at that time. Or we can look at a currency pair. Here's a 4-hour chart of the Australian dollar. If you were long, it was telling you to exit right here once again at the high bar, and you could have saved yourself 130 pips in the following week. That's close to $1,300 per unit. If you stayed in, you would have lost or given back $1,300 of your profit. That's the beauty of knowing when a trend is about to change. So let's talk about the course highlights, all right? We shared with you the 2 essentials. This is an entirely new course package. This isn't something that we've ever talked about before. It's brand new. It's going to be for students, once again, who have either been our students prior and they've already purchased another method or another technique and they want to take their trading to the next level, or for brand new students who really want to learn how to become consistent. It's emphasis on trend trading only. That's the only focus of this. Why? Because remember, as we stated, the theme, you only lose money when you're out of sync with the market you're trading, okay? The simplicity of being in sync with the market is really at the core of being a successful trader. So you want to want what the market wants. Lastly, we're going to present 2 of our best of the best trend tools. These are really tools that I personally use in my own trading on a daily basis. It doesn't matter what market, it doesn't matter what time frame. These best of the best trend tools will really improve your trading. You can apply them onto anything. And we're going to have live teaching classes to follow. Now, we're going to be starting these a week from this Friday. So they're going to be live classes. We're going to keep them to a minimum. That's why we titled this presentation, Your Last Chance, because we won't be giving any more opportunities for people to sign up for the live classes anymore. We want to keep them very intimate so that they're not, in the old days, we used to have 200, maybe even close to 300 people in our course classes, and it was just too big and too cumbersome. There were too many questions asked. The people didn't feel as if they could make a notice with any of their inquiries. So we want to keep them to more of an intimate style, so we won't advertise them as long. This is our last chance for the live classes. Now, a lot of people say, well, Steve, doesn't news affect the trend? I mean, okay, a lot of people say, well, sure, I can agree with you that you have to follow the trend, but what happens when a news announcement comes out? Or what happens when an earnings announcement or a company makes an announcement? Well, you're right. Sometimes it will affect the trend, but with our tools, I have seen through my own experience, because they are so highlighted, because they are so sensitive, they will often be in sync with the trend prior to the news announcement. Let me show you what I mean here. Here's something that just happened a couple of months ago, 2 or 3 months ago. Cracker Barrel stock dips after a rebranding backlash. Now, it states here in Yahoo Finance that Cracker Barrel is facing widespread backlash after rolling out a new logo and plans to update its restaurants to a more modern style. Now, this past August, the chain restaurant announced changes to its logo menu as part of a campaign titled All the More. Now, despite the chain's excitement in its announcement, the public was disappointed and even outraged by the change. Customers were so upset, in fact, that the stock plunged and the chain shed almost $100 million in market value. So, obviously, when they announced this rebranding change, it was negative for the stock and possibly for the trend, right? So let's take a look at that. Here's a look at that actual stock chart. And here's where the news came out. And obviously, the stock fell out of bed. Let's say you were long this stock in your long-term portfolio or in your intermediate trading, and you say to yourself, gosh, I had a nice profit. I got in somewhere around here, and I was doing really well, and now look at this. I have a loss on my hands. Well, guess what? What we're going to be teaching you in the course is that you would have been exiting right here at or near the top. And once again, had you used a method that we'll be teaching you, you could have saved yourself an 18-point loss or saved that in profit. So here's where the news came out, but this is where the Trading Essentials signal told you to exit. And then once again, you had plenty of chance to get back in if you wanted to at much lower levels. So oftentimes, when you are in sync using our tools with the trend, we have seen oftentimes, and our students have reported to us, that we are in sync with the trend prior to the news announcement. Now, we're also going to include an extra bonus. In fact, some extra bonuses. Firstly, we're going to include a brand new signal filter. Now, we realize that nothing works 100% of the time. If anyone ever tells you that, you should run, because I've been trading nearly 5 decades, and I know that nothing works 100% of the time. But as long as I'm still here, it's not about being able to make every trade a winner. It's about being consistent. And you can improve that by adding and employing filters. And we're going to have a special filter added to this so that we will increase your odds for consistency. So we will filter out a lot of those signals that just kind of seem to go sideways or don't work out. So we'll not only improve your odds for consistency, you will have less trades. You'll only have the high quality trades at your fingertips. That's bonus number 1. Bonus number 2 is you'll get an extremely consistent trading game plan. Now, it's not just enough for us to throw out these trading essentials and these trending tools and say, good luck with them, the best of luck, and just use them as best as you can. No, we're going to put together a trading game plan. And we're going to do this in the second class of the Trading Essentials course. And here I'll show you a step-by-step process for applying this. So you have an actual strategy or method, a game plan applying these trading tools. You'll see how consistent they are. I'll show you a number of current and relative examples by using these. And then lastly, just for our Trading Essential course members, on our platform, we will give you a dashboard and scanner. This means a dashboard means when all the requirements of all the trend trading tools and everything line up, you'll get a green light knowing that you have a signal for a buy setup. or a red light, knowing you have a signal for a sell setup. So therefore, there won't be any discrepancy. There won't be any doubt. You'll know exactly when a setup has been generated or not. And on top of that, you'll be able to scan for these setups. So you don't have to waste all night the way I did nearly 50 years ago, where I had to go through each trade, almost looking through hundreds and hundreds of charts on a nightly basis. You'll be able to scan, and in less than 5 or 10 minutes, you'll know where all of these setups are for the next day. And you can decide for yourself if you want to take the setup or not. This is only and exclusively for the Trading Essential course members. So these are 3 great bonuses that you'll get by joining our course. Take advantage of our new Trading Essential package. This is something I'm really excited about. I'm really excited about this new trading game plan because we've seen some phenomenal results. Me and the people at ProPrietary Strategies have been testing it and working with it, and it looks really, really exciting. And I'm excited to share it with you in the Trading Essentials course. Now, for more information on how to become a part of our class, contact ProPrietary Strategies. I would highly suggest giving them a call at area code 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants manning the phones right now. They'd be more than happy to take your order over the phone or to talk to you about signing up with a trading plan where you don't have to, or a payment plan, I should say, where you don't have to come up with a full amount. They have discounts going on. Early bird discounts, I believe, are still in effect for the next couple of days. So if you're at all interested about becoming a student of mine, here's how to take advantage of it. Call 310-598-6677. I'm going to leave this information up here. Oh, by the way, that the link that will take you to the info page about this course is on the chat box. So if you want to go and find out more information about the Trading Essentials course, go to the chat box little icon there for the Zoom, on the little Zoom list, and click on chat, and you'll see a link there. It will open up for you automatically. Now, I'll leave this information up for the next couple of minutes. If you have any questions concerning what I went over today, anything about the class, now's the time to ask. Just go to your question and answer box or to the chat box, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Someone says, I came in late. When do the classes start? The classes are set to begin on Friday, the 21st. And usually we have the classes on a Friday. The reason is because we want to allow you the entire weekend to study and to kind of familiarize yourself with the information. And you can email me as well and just familiarize yourself so that you can study and have time to go over it. And then we can go on, and then you can look at it next week on live charts as we look at it when the market is open. So if there's ever any, we've had changes. So if there's ever any a feeling as if you'd rather have it on a different day, excuse me, or a different time, we're always open for suggestions as long as it's majority vote. We can have it during market hours. During the week, we can have it on a weekend prior to the market or after the market close. It's up to you as long as the majority rules for that. Okay. What if I can't make the classes? If you can't make the classes, which are on Friday, don't worry. Everything is being recorded. And everyone will get my private email address. You can still ask me questions. We always want people to be in the class, because if you're in the class, you can ask me questions outright and we can go over and look at examples. But if you're not able to make the classes, they are being recorded live. You can watch them at your own leisure. And then once you've watched and have any questions, you can always email me and I'll go through any of the questions or inquiries that you may have. And just as if I were there during the live class, okay? Let's see, one more question. How long are the course classes? Well, anywhere from 1 to 3 hours. I believe the first class will be roughly longer, about 2 hours. The second class, which will be the following Friday, will be about an hour. Okay, so altogether about 3 live hours. And they will be on the Friday. Yes, they will be on Friday, roughly about 10 a.m. Pacific time, or 1 o'clock Eastern time. Okay. Remember, this is your last chance. We're going to be closing this up after this. We have a few more slots open for students after this. Most traders will have to take this course just by following the videos. So if you're interested at all in being in the live class, now's the time to sign up. And here's the best thing. If you have any questions, remember, there's no obligation. They'd be happy to work with you, answer any questions. Just contact ProPrietary Strategies, 310-598-6677. They're very flexible. They'd be happy to work with you on pricing. They have payment plans available. I believe they may even still have a early bird discount. Just call them up and ask. There's no obligation, but they're very easy to work with. And like I said, they'll answer any question that you may have as well. Okay, if there are no further questions, remember, give them a call, 310-598-6677. And as we take one last look at our disclaimer here, I hope you learned a little bit about what we want to teach you, and that our real goal is simply as an educator to inform you and to educate you on things that will make you successful. That's our only goal. We want to make you successful and a consistent trader. There are more profits on a daily basis around for everyone to go around. There's just more than needed. That's why it's never too much to help people and to help people learn, because there are just an infinite amount of profits available on a daily basis. Why not share the secret with people so that to help you become a consistent trader? That's what we want to do, and that's our goal. Okay. Thank you so much for attending today. I wish you all the best of luck. Most especially, I look forward to seeing you, all of you, in the Trading Essentials course. Thank you so much, and give Pro Trader Strategies a call. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.